Alright, welcome back to the show. Today we are talking about why European players are so good. If you watch the NBA, you'll notice that a lot of the best players in the league are European. Nikola Jokic, the past MVP, the last 2 years in a row. The 2 years before that, it was Giannis Antetokounmpo, a Greek player, a Serbian and a Greek player. The last 4 years have been the most valuable player in the NBA. Luka Doncic, a Slovenian player, has been the Vegas odds favorite for MVP the last 3 years and has been first team All-NBA 3 of the 4 years he's been in the league. European players are good. Also, Rudy Gobert, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. I only bring up 4 examples just to reiterate my point that European players are kind of taking over the NBA. In a way, obviously there's a lot more Americans, but you get my point. Why are these European players so good? The first is the youth academies. What are the youth academies? Is it different from high school, American ball, and AAU? Yeah, it's a lot different because you are playing basketball all year round for the youth academy. It works the same way soccer does. If you look at any professional soccer player in Europe, check out his Wikipedia, you can see what youth academy he went to. A Real Madrid youth academy, a Arsenal youth academy, a Roma youth academy. These professional soccer clubs have academies that go all the way down to 10 years old to find the best talent at a very young age in hopes that they'll play for their professional team. They do this in basketball too. We don't do that in America. We have kids that go to high school and basketball is a part of their high school experience. It's not the focus. It's not the main thing. Versus in Europe, you go to an academy and you do school on the side. The primary focus is, hey, this kid could be a professional athlete. Let's put all of his time and effort into this thing. And when he is showing like he might not end up being a professional athlete, he ends up getting kicked out of the academy. It's kind of sad. I watched a YouTube video on it one time and it's kind of a bummer, but then he can go pursue other interests. He can learn how to shoot and edit video and make YouTube videos like me and you. I don't know if you're a YouTuber. But the point being is they're focused on basketball all year round. They have the same coach and they're able to move up the ranks at the pace in which they can, and they are able to. They're able to play with older players, play with more skilled players if they're kind of dominating the players that they're currently playing with. Some of these guys even play on their national teams. Smaller countries, they'll play on the national teams even at a young age. It's possible for a player to play on his national team at 13 years old. So this is a 13-year-old playing with potentially 30-plus-year-old men. That's going to change the way that they approach the game. They're going to have to play in a way to play against matured body adults, which is pretty valuable if you think about it. The next reason is every player learns every position. Kobe Bryant talked about this a lot. He said this with the Gasol brothers. He couldn't believe that these really big guys were able to learn how to shoot, carry the ball. They were able to dribble. They could drive to the rack. Most players, most big men in the NBA weren't able to do these things. So you're learning basketball skills in general. You're not learning position specific because big men now can, like I said, they can drive to the rack. They can shoot threes, which is pretty insane. The pick and pop is huge in the NBA right now. If you're a center, you can't just be a big lumbering guy that can't shoot the ball. Also the guards learn how to post up. They learn post moves. They learn how to contest shots against players that are significantly taller than them. Think about Victor Wembanyama. This guy's insane. He can drive to the hoop. He can dribble. He can break ankles. He's really talented, but he can also play back to the basket. He can do post moves. He can contest shots. He can be the main rim protector. He learns everything. No one ever said to Victor Wembanyama, I'm sure they did, but no one ever said to Victor Wembanyama, hey, you're a center. Learn center stuff. Focus on your center stuff. It's not that way. They say you're a basketball player, learn everything. And you watch the guy play and it doesn't look right because it's a guy that's 7'4" who has a crazy handle and can drill threes. Vlade Divac, a Serbian, played on the Kings if you've been watching basketball for a really long time, was a big man, but he was an insane passer. He was one of the first big men that actually, his main talent wasn't his post moves, it was being a great passer. Also, Tony Kukoc. Tony Kukoc was 6'10", but he could play every position. This is what Jerry Krause, the GM of the Chicago Bulls, thought when he wanted to draft him. And when he did draft him, he thought so highly of Tony Kukoc, he thought he could replace Michael Jordan. He did not, but nevertheless, great player. This one's kind of up to debate, but it's consistency, the consistency of the game in Europe. As you go through the different ages and levels of the game, you're playing with the same ball. The ball never changes sizes. The rules never change. Goaltending rules are always the same. The three-point line is always the same. The shot clock rules are always the same, which causes a better focus for playing the game. You're not thinking about what are the rules of the game for this particular sect or denomination I'm playing in. Also, the consistency of, like I said, the academy where you're playing with the same coach, you're playing with the same team. Your coach knows what level you're at. Your coach knows what you need to be working on. The focus is entirely on basketball. You maybe have drama like this, but in the US, I remember I played soccer soccer, and I knew kids who were better at basketball and better at soccer, but the parents were always concerned about whether the kid was getting enough playing time, if maybe they should transfer schools, if the coach sucked because, you know, they didn't see what they saw in their kid. So there's not that sort of drama. If you're good at basketball, they're going to move you up. If you're not good at basketball, you're going to stay on the same level, or they're going to give you the boot and you're going to have to play rec league. The other thing is Europeans learn a different style of basketball. The way they focus on basketball, the way they develop their players is through a team system. They're more focused on passing the ball around, trying to get the ball to the right guy with the best look who can make a basket. It's not as much ISO ball. Even on defense, it's more focused on switching and playing intense defense, which this is not my quote, but a lot of times they criticize the NBA and American basketball for being a little less focused on defense, a little less focused especially on team defense, and more as a defensive system that works as a team rather than one guy versus one guy. In fact, in the EuroLeague, most games don't even reach triple digits for each side. They usually end with less than 100 points. Also, you never really see a guy getting more than 30 points a game, which I think is crazy because everyone's getting the ball. There's really no star. There's no one that it's like, oh, we're running this play for this particular guy constantly. Everyone's getting the ball. Everyone's passing around. It's more of a team game. All right, this one's kind of a stretch, but Europeans are actually taller. So in Bosnia, in Slovenia, and in Serbia, men are actually 2 inches taller than they are in the United States, which is like probably not that big of a deal. It'd probably be a wash because there's more players in the United States, but nevertheless, if there's a higher baseline, the players are going to actually be a little bit bigger. And again, this isn't the biggest reason that I think European players are so good, but it definitely has something to do with it. The last thing I want to talk about is a case study of Luka Doncic and why he is so good at basketball. And I'm going to bring up a couple facts about him that will probably make my case for you. When he was 13, he signed with Real Madrid's youth academy, okay? The greatest basketball team in Europe. He was 13. He was playing against 16-year-olds, okay? He had to develop early. When he was 16, he was actually playing on Real Madrid's professional team. He was playing on the Real Madrid, playing professional basketball at 16 with grown men. When he was 19, this was the year he got drafted in the NBA, he won the EuroLeague and he won EuroLeague MVP. This is the youngest person to ever win that award. He was playing against professional athletes, and I think this is what made him so good. And this is what made him so used to playing at the highest level, is because he's been doing it for so long. There was no adjustment period. Within 2 years of playing in the NBA, he was one of the best players in the league. I think ultimately European players are so good is because the main focus is basketball, and they can move up faster if they need be. If you're in college and you're really good at basketball in the States, or you're in high school and you're really good at basketball in the States, you can only move as fast as you go through high school or as fast as you go through college. Versus in Europe, you're playing professional basketball. There is no high school system. If you're good at basketball, no one cares how old you are. No one cares what grades you're in. They just know you're good and they want to sign you because they want to win. So that's why I believe European players are so good. I want to end with a little quick video of Goran Dragic, a Slovenian player, talking about Luka after a Slovenia game. At this point in time, Luka was playing for Real Madrid, but I just think it's interesting because Goran Dragic, I can't say his name right now. Goran talks about how good Luka is, and it's kind of eerie what he says because he's serious. He stops and he says, "No, I'm serious. This guy's going to be one of the best players in the world." And sure enough, he is. So
he's a born winner. So you know, no, I'm not kidding. You know, he already have a lot of trophy medals, and I'm happy for him. And mark my words, he's gonna be one of the best in the whole world.
all right, thank you for being here. Much love. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate y'all.